What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Cyclone Fanatic post-game report here on the Cyclone Fanatic social media channels. As always, want to give a quick shout out to all of our sponsors of the Cyclone Fanatic post-game report. Centurion Stone, you just saw the ad there for them, as well as Whiskey River. No matter where you are at in Central Iowa, you can support a longtime friend of Cyclone Fanatic, Whiskey River. Check out their flagship location in downtown Ames, as well as Whiskey River Ankeny, located in Prairie Trail, and their newest location, Whiskey River in downtown Des Moines on Ingersoll. From fantastic liquor and beer selection and amazing burgers, it's Whiskey River, a proud partner of Cyclone Fanatic. And then just real quick, just a heads up at your local Fairway will be open this Labor Day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Check out the new Fairway Meat Market in Ames and fairway.com for store locations and healthy, easy recipes today. Rob Gray, not very pretty for the majority of the game on Saturday, but Iowa State comes out with a 16-10 win. We're going to give you some thoughts on things that Matt Campbell had to say during his press conference. But Rob, first, just what are some of your overarching thoughts on the win today?
Well, I'm going to write about it because Coach Campbell keeps telling us it's never easy. And I kind of think at some point it's going to be. And this was yet another example of that. No, it isn't. Just a slog of a game. Possessions at a premium, yards at a premium, points at a premium. You make a few mistakes, penalties, some things. You find yourself in tension and on pins and needles all the way down the stretch against a team that, okay, maybe you think this time we're really going to handle them. But when UNI is as good as they are and as veteran as they are on the defensive side of the ball, and you shoot yourself in the foot offensively at times, you can't get the running game going like you hoped. You're going to have this type of game. It's not going to be easy, and as Campbell says, it's the rough side of the mountain, and it's always good when you come off that side of the mountain still on top of whatever the score is.
Right, and I think with the offense, we'll start there. I mean, you talked about the shooting yourself in the foot. That's the frustrating thing, is even when it seemed like they were maybe getting a rhythm, you have some unfortunate things happen, whether it's, right at the beginning of the game with Joe Skates fumbles the ball, whether he caught it or not. I mean, doesn't matter now. It was called a fumble on the field, and that's what it ended up being. But, that kind of sets you behind the sticks early in the game. Then there was the string where they had back-to-back penalties after they'd gotten a big play into Northern Iowa territory. I mean, those are just the things that you can't have happen if you want to really put a team away. And, I think those are probably the biggest things that really factored into what the final score of this game was. But when you look at that offense, too, you have to factor in, you don't have Charlie Kohler. Coach Campbell said that, they're hopeful that he'll be good to go next week. We've been hearing kind of throughout the week that it was kind of up in the air whether or not he was going to be able to play today. Coach Campbell said he was really close to being able to play, and they decided to hold him out. I'm sure that if they were playing Iowa, he might have played today, but I think that probably slows you down a little bit. Not having Sean Shaw probably is tough as well. Just eliminates some of your depth in the receiving corps. Coach Campbell said he's probably still at least a couple of weeks away from being good to go. Doesn't expect to have him for next week. But hopeful to get him, maybe in 2 weeks or at least maybe the week after that. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. But, losing those, especially to lose Charlie for the second consecutive season opener, I mean, especially on those third downs that they were in where they just, maybe it's 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5 and you're just not quite able to get a first down. Like that's a major impact on those type of situations.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you take that type of playmaker out of, how many times has he converted third downs in his career? Good Lord, it's been dozens. And, that security blanket aspect that he gives you, when you start to struggle, when you shoot yourself in the foot a little bit, that's when you notice. Now, if they've been able to hum and execute from the beginning, I think you survive that because Chase Allen's a veteran leader. He can produce things. Easton Dean's coming along. Just to not being able to get the running game going, really, I think made Charlie's absence that much more pronounced when it came to how competitive the game was.
Yeah, but at the same time, Coach Campbell talked about how he felt like they were a couple inches away on some of their plays from being able to bust a big one. You know, I think specifically when it comes to Brees Hall and where he was at today, there was a handful of times where, you know, last season there might not be a seam initially, but he's going to find one as the play kind of starts to develop. And, you know, that's just, I think now that you've got some of those things on film, you've been out there when the bullets are flying again, like you get back adjusted to the pace of playing a live college football game. You know, I think that those are things that can improve. Like, there's nothing about that what happened today that I sit here and I'm like, man, that's an unfixable mistake. No, everything that they kind of had go wrong today feels like it's fixable. And I think that there are things that can be fixed in a week. It's nothing that's major that it's going to take months and months to be able to clean up.
Exactly. And I think, like you said with Brees, not only does he have a great burst, we know what his skill level is, but he's such a patient runner. And you could see him exhibiting that patience today. And like you said, that little crease didn't turn into the big one where, boom, he's off for 20, 40, sometimes a house situation. So I think that's true. I know it's from the fans. It's got to be really, you know, you want to feel like you can breathe easy before the final seconds. And that's just not what happens here, as Campbell reiterated. But, you know, if there's anything that is emblematic of the Campbell era is if you tried to judge what the end result of the season were like off the season opener, you would be as wrong as you possibly could be. So, you know, is it unfortunate that form continues? Sure, but it's certainly no reason to panic when, like you said, there were a few of those opportunities where just a little bit, like you mentioned, hold that block a little bit longer, that crease gets wider, you're looking at a completely different situation.
All right, let's flip things over to the defense. The only injury there to address is Orion Vance. Coach Campbell said that he thinks it's a hamstring injury. He doesn't know that it's going to hold him out for an extended period of time or anything like that. I think they're hopeful to be able to have him next week. They said that they'll have a better idea of that tomorrow. So then hopefully we'll have a better idea on Tuesday when we talk to Coach Campbell again. But again, I don't think it's anything serious or anything that's going to hold Orion out for an extended period of time. But man, you know, outside of a two-play stretch there during the first quarter where UNI is able to get the, 37-yard gain on when Will McElvain's fall into the ground after getting away from Will McDonald, and then you hit a 52-yard slant play for a touchdown out of cover one where your cornerback tries to jump it and make a play, and then you miss a tackle. I mean, for the most part, the defense played really, really well. You know, I broke it down. I think if you take out those two plays, they allowed only 186 yards total offense and like an average like 3.2 yards per play. Those numbers are going to win you a lot of football games at the end of the day.
I agree. And UNI is able to restock. We talked throughout the week and when we met on Tuesday just how offensively they struggled so much in their spring season. But they've got players. And the one thing I was concerned with, there was a stretch there whenever they needed 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, they got it, no matter what. I mean, should they get that some of the time? I think there was a little bit concerning that they were able to do that routinely for a while. But again, this defense stiffened when it needed to. There was never that feeling that, oh my gosh, they're going to drive in a minute 12, they're going to drive 90 yards down the field and pull this game out. Defense was stalwart, as you said, all day. I mean, they gave them a chance to, and those were both fluky plays. Credit to UNI for making them, because they're great plays from their perspective. But it very easily could have been a field goal they gave up today. So the defense was very good today. No doubt.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, you won the game. It's better than being 0-1, you know. Yeah. And I think that it might be good for this team now. After the offseason they've had, everybody's been riding really high off of the Fiesta Bowl back in January. You know, you're forced to kind of get back to the grindstone a little bit, get humbled a little bit maybe in this game from what you thought you were going to be coming into the year. And everybody knows it's time to go to work. I mean, we all saw what Iowa did today. I don't remember what the final was, but it was not anywhere close, and they kind of kicked the crap out of Indiana. That's going to be a team that's going to have a lot of confidence coming into Jack Trice Stadium next week. They're a good team, but I still think Iowa State's got a really good team too. And I think that from my vibe that I was able to get from those guys while we were over there talking to them, they're hungry to get back to work and focus up and get ready to go, because I think they know how big this next week is going to be.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And, circling back to what Campbell always says, That's coming. Better make that default mode from a fan perspective, because when it does come somewhat easily, like maybe the Fiesta Bowl when felt, like games where, you've got Cougar ravishing Kansas State last year, or West Virginia, in fact, just relish those, but be prepared for the never coming easy, because look, the reason they've been pretty good at winning in the margins throughout this stretch of bowl games and win seasons, and then the best season ever last season. That's to keep the faith that they will continue to do that and continue to build, a snowball of success throughout the season, because the season opener is always kind of like this. It's just, like you said, good to come out of it in the winning end, because a couple times it's been the other way. Last season, for instance.
Couple of things real quick before we sign off. Mason asks if we think that Joe Skates did enough to earn a solid playing spot, and his first few targets did not look good. I think Joe's probably going to play a lot by necessity until Sean Shaw comes back. He'll probably rotate at that position with Darren Wilson. Yeah, it was tough where he fumbled or whatever it was on the that first drive, but he came back. He made a nice catch in the end zone, wasn't able to get his foot down. That would have been a touchdown. Yeah. I think that Joe's still trying to figure out some of the consistency of some of those things. He's still going to get a lot of snaps, and I think it'll work out for him in the end. Thanks again to our sponsors, Centurion Stone, Whiskey River, and Fairway. We are going to get back to work on all the content that we've got coming for you guys tonight. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff on the site. And then, of course, we'll have football and random things for you guys bright and early on Monday. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the holiday weekend. Everybody stay safe. And we will talk to you guys again next week. For Rob Gray, I'm Jared Stansbury signing off here on the Cyclone Postgame Report.